All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it, move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
All right, welcome back. 2024 version of Armani Suits and Run. Back for the Circa Millions, as advertised by Kiernan's Big Hat. Kiernan made the trip out a couple weeks ago, got us signed up. Just focusing on the Circa this year. Doing the one contest. Is that what we did last year? Or did we?
I think we only did the Circa last year.
We only did the Circa last year. So just a quick reminder, in terms of where we ended up last year, pretty much right down the middle, 43, 45, and 2 record. Had 44 points. We were pretty much middle of the road. Felt like we came on strong at the end. Definitely felt like we, made a little bit of a run, started to kind of find a rhythm, found something in the formula. So hoping we can keep those vibes rolling into this season. Yeah. Any thoughts before we get started?
Yeah, so
great to be back. My fault.
It is great to be back. As you said, I did make the trip out to Vegas. Nearly killed me. Coming back, took me out for like an entire weekend. One of those moments where you realize you're starting to get a little bit older. You can't do what you used to do, anything like that. But I mean, I spent less than 24 hours going to Vegas and back. Had to wake up early the next morning or 2 mornings later, drive down to New Jersey. So work a whole day after that. Just had to catch up on some sleep, eat some food, and it took care of me. But the Vegas trip is what I do want to talk about because I told you guys that there was something I wanted to bring up, I wanted to propose, and that's what it has to do with. So I was thinking we should do more to keep track of our records this year and just see, what everybody's record finished at. I think you did keep track of that, Tristan, but I think we should make it mean something. So what I'm thinking is we got to face the facts. We've had 2 years in a row now where we've had to throw together a Vegas trip on a whim, make it 24 hours. We can't really fit this in. It costs money. It takes time, all that stuff. I feel like that should be the punishment for coming in last. If you lose, if you finish with the worst record, you have to make the trip to Vegas for the sign. And we can try and justify and say, "Oh, we're gonna make it happen one year. We're all gonna go. It's gonna be awesome." I've seen no evidence of that in 2 years so far. So let's not try and hold on to that.
Let me build on it. Let me build on this. And it has to be a 24-hour trip.
Yeah, you have to just go there and back. And I mean, it's really not that bad. Like I said, I think I just needed to sleep a little bit, eat a little bit more, all that.
It nearly killed you, but it's not that bad.
But it was cheap to go in the middle of the week. So that's an easy time, just do one day. But yeah, I mean, you just go right in and the schedule worked out. We got in there. We went up to our room. We were able to check in. We just rinsed off, put some new clothes on, did whatever. And then we just went right down, got the money, and we just went and we signed up. And then we went back up to the room, put our feet up for a little bit, and then we went to dinner. And, you kind of got all that in there. And, sometimes it's good to just get in and out of Vegas. I honestly, besides the roulette for all of us, I didn't gamble at all. I just didn't have any time to. So it's an easy way to make a cheap trip out to Vegas. But yeah, I feel like that should be the punishment, or we should at least have some sort of punishment. But I think that should be it because, like I said, that group trip, maybe on like the 10-year anniversary or something, we all get it together. But I don't think it's ever just going to come together like that. So let's just make it the punishment.
Well, and let's also face like other facts, like, actually, Bowen, for the podcast listeners, there's some off-season news that you have to report.
Yeah, having a baby soon, actually mid-season. It's going to be mid-December, so expect a late season addition to the pod. Hopefully, we're making tons of money and putting it all on the baby's college fund, but we'll see. We'll see how the season goes. But
yeah, something to play for this year. He's hungry.
Yeah, man, I'm starved.
But I think to that point, it's like, speaking as somebody who has 2 kids, and was going through having another kid last season, it like just the reality is you like next season, like you're probably not going to be able to make that trip out. Like you're
I don't
just
know.
not. Like it's
But
gonna
I
be.
mean, but the thing is, especially with it not being a group trip, you get to just do it on your schedule. So
You
you
do
just
it
have
on
to
your
find
schedule, right? Yeah,
literally if we're doing it and it has to be 24 hours, you literally just
Yeah.
have to find
yeah,
24 hours
yeah.
Wait,
to just
KB,
get it done. Just
what
go
was our
out, sign
first
up,
trip? What was our trip 2 years ago? Like 16 hours? We didn't
something
even
like
give
that. Yeah.
ourselves. We didn't even give ourselves the full 24.
Well,
Yeah.
and then Kieran, you've also got off season news.
Yeah, I mean, next year I'm gonna have a wedding approaching. You know, it's gonna be in October, so you know,
And then
sometime in
who
like
knows?
July, August, anything like that. It's not gonna be easy to. I don't think it'll be
Then
easy to get
who
that.
knows? Who knows what'll happen after that? So it just it's as we all get older, life will get in the way, and it's going to be hard. So I like this idea, and then I think, look, I mean, if there is a year where the stars align and there's just a weekend that's perfect and we can do it, we can make the trip together, then we
Yeah.
just do it, right? We figure out another
Then
part.
then then you just gotta pay for dinner or something.
Exactly. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. So, all right, I like it. All right. So I will,
Oh, but then also we should set the parameters for how we're gonna do it. So obviously we're submitting one pick a week, each of
Yep.
us. And then, so I think that one, it's going to come down to that. So over
Yep.
18 weeks, what's your
Yep.
record? And then I think tiebreaker, because I'll keep this all in an Excel doc too, and we can, make it look nice and do everything like that. But I think maybe tiebreaker, we can do just primetime records as well. So we can keep track of what side everybody would have been on
yeah.
for, those primetime games. And then,
Yep.
whatever your primetime record ends up being, that can be the tiebreaker. And if somehow it's stuck after that, we'll figure it out. So,
Yep. Okay. I like it. Very good. Well, should we get into it?
yeah, we might as well
Give me the
start.
wheel.
So,
Give me the
yeah,
wheel.
let's just set the record. It's the same thing as last year. We're going to spin the wheel, go in that order. You just, give your best pick, whatever. And, we fill out those three, and that's 1 and 4 o'clock games, all that. And then, we're going to do the primetime games, and that's majority rules. So 2 out of 3. And that's how we'll decide that, right? So I think that covers everything.
Yep.
All right, let me share the screen. All right, you guys see the wheel?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's been spinning in the middle. I think the oh no, don't tell me. Wait.
Oh, man. We got
We
wheel
might need a
drama.
new wheel.
Wait,
Hold
what
on.
happened?
We got wheel drama.
I'm gonna have to
wheel?
diagnose this. I just used the wheel last night. All right. We're just gonna go new wheel.
Wow. New wheel?
Well, I just gotta like create a new one on the same site.
Shit.
All right, and it works. Okay. Let's go back to sharing.
Man, Romeo Dobbs is so fucking cold.
Wait,
Cold.
did
All
this
right,
game
you guys see it?
start?
What'd you say?
Did this game start? Did they kick
Yeah.
off?
Yeah, it just
like
started.
a couple plays
Yeah.
in.
All right, here we go.
So,
The first spin. Who's making the first pick of the year?
KB.
Me.
I mean, it only seems right.
Yep.
If being honest.
All right, all right. I told you guys. I think my card. I think the 3 games that I had. I think it's pretty stinky, but that's exactly what I like about it. I'm going to go for these games, especially in week 1. I feel like people are going to be chasing the favorites, the home favorites. There are 2 home dogs on this card. It's the Colts +2, and then it's the Giants +1. I'm taking the Colts +2.
Wow.
They're hosting the Texans. I think that line kind of stinks. I feel like everyone's going to be looking at that and they're going to be saying the Colt or the Texans in under under a field goal against the Colts. Anthony Richardson, he's had the accuracy problems. Everybody's concerned. I know that they're at home, so they're going to a few points back there, but I don't know. That line really stinks to me. They split the series 1-1 last year. What was it? When they won, they beat them 31-20. They beat them at Houston. That's when he played in the first quarter. He went 6 of 10 for 56 yards. He also had 3 rushes for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns before he left with the injury. I think that what Indy can do here, because I'm buying into it, I'm fading the Houston Texans a little bit. I think there's going to be a regression in this season. I feel like last year they played well, but I feel like people are also overrating it a little bit. I think that Indy can just sit on the ball, dominate the clock with Anthony Richardson, with Jonathan Taylor. I think that they have all those weapons on offense that they can score those points. I'm going to take them at home. I'm going to take one of the 2 home dogs.
I like it because like the Texans, I feel like have become such a sexy pick. I think there's, obviously very high expectations given what Stroud did last year. They've brought in Joe Mixon, who, I'm curious to see, like, he's been around for a few years, so I'm curious to see what he's got in the tank. But obviously added Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell's back. We'll see how he is in terms of, recovering from that injury from last year, but there's high expectations. And, you've got a Colts team with Anthony Richardson coming back, Taylor's healthy, like, there's some good stuff there. Like, it very much could be set up for a week 1 letdown, and it's not to say that the Texans can't be great. They can't live up to the expectations. They can't end up winning the division anyway, right? Like, but who's to say they can't, just have a little bit of a speed bump, not meet those expectations in week 1?
Yeah,
So,
I do think just pound for pound right now, Shane Steichen's probably top 5 for me, at least what I think of head coaches in the league. And going against D'Amico Ryan's good coach, but I think Steichen in a spot like this, opening week, with Anthony Richardson healthy, because last year, I mean, when he was healthy, I know he played 2.5 games or 3.5 games. When he was healthy, he was nasty. Like he flashed, and he flashed a lot early. So we don't really know. It's really like betting on a first-year quarterback almost, in the sense that we really don't know too much about Anthony Richardson. But what we do know is that when he's flashing, he's one of one type of player. So I love the spot. The line stinks a lot. It was something that jumped out to me, but really isn't my type of pick. But I did see saw the line, and it didn't really make sense to me. So yeah, I like the pick.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I was listening to Pete Prisco on Part of My Take too, and he made the point. And CJ Stroud, he did miss 2 games, but he only threw for 23 touchdowns.
mm-hmm.
And that's like a little under 1.5 a game. So it's not like he did have the 4,000-yard season, and he was crazy impressive as a rookie. He only had 5 picks, but it's not like he was coming in and playing like up to the same level as like the elite guys. So yeah, I do think that they're just, getting a little too much love coming into the season. And I think that there are going to be some growing pains. I mean, I think it's only fair to expect that. So, maybe that they are just, way above that. But I could also see it be one of those things where they played so much of the season with Tank Dell out. Obviously they've added Diggs, they have Dell back. It could be a thing where they have to figure out, how are we going to spread this ball out? Now they were just so loaded for this game. They got to figure out how they're going to distribute those targets, because everybody's worthy of them. So, and then they also want to run the ball with Mixon. So we'll see how it is. But I mean, I'm kind of expecting, I could still see them being a high scoring game, but I feel like it's going to be a game where they're going to be sitting on the ball a lot and then picking their spots. And, these are 2 teams that can definitely break off like, massive plays, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a just back and forth, like scoring every 30-second type of game. So,
Also,
I can see it being a little slower.
Something to keep an eye on. Stephon Diggs was named a captain for the team a week ago or so in the training camp. And from everything that we know about Diggs, he's just a toxic soul. And for him to be a captain of the team so early just gives me a kind of a weird vibe a little bit. I don't know if I'm taking the bait on that. It kind of feels a little fishy.
I feel like there's like some like a little revisionist history on Diggs though when it comes to him being like this like massive diva.
No,
Like what has he like really done besides just like not been happy with the situation up in Buffalo? He just didn't want to be in Buffalo. Like now all of a sudden people are like making it like, oh yeah, this is how he was on the Vikings. I thought he was like beloved on the Vikings.
All right, shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of like,
what is he like actually done? Like I don't know. Like he just
that's the thing is like, nobody really fucking knows except for the people that are in the locker
Like
room.
Antonio Brown was like showing up to camp in a hot air balloon with, the skin on his feet like freeze dried off and
That was awesome,
like
though.
farting on doctors. Like he was,
Hot air balloon.
yeah. But it's like,
Unbelievable.
Sounds like a
I
cool
don't know, like
guy
Terrell
thing.
Owens was doing sit-ups in his driveway. Like I just don't like what's like a instance of something that Diggs has actually done. I don't think I've actually seen that.
I just not too deep. I just something to look out for. That's it. Didn't mean to.
The Colts looked good with Richardson before he got hurt last year too. I mean, they were 2-1. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Texans.
Yeah,
To be fair, I think he did leave 2 of those games early, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, he showed like flashes of good stuff. I mean, I think I think a lot of people are excited to see him get back, and I mean, he's a dynamic player.
yeah,
Um,
I think that it's just like the narrative on him is just like swung way too far because like he does have his warts as a player. Like
Yeah.
and we cannot expect every single one. Like there is like some beginner's luck in play here, I think, where it was just like his first like 3 or 4 games. They had absolutely no tape on him. And like quite literally because he's barely played as a starting quarterback in his career in his life. But yeah, I mean, we can't expect every single game to be like that. But then, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's like the most inaccurate player ever. Like he can't do that. And in that last preseason game, they came out, they had a shitty drive. And even on like, everyone on Twitter is like shitting on him, shitting on him, shitting on him. Then he came back out and they had like a great drive after that. He looked great. So it's like, I just think it swung way too far in that direction where, I feel like we got to give him a little bit of love here and trust that he can hold on to that ball and run it as effectively as he can. Him and Taylor healthy together, I love the Colts here.
yeah.
And I mean, 2 home dogs and one of them's, a 1 point dog. And then this one's a 2.5 point. Like, I mean, I just think that's crazy that, no way. But I can't see both of them losing. I think both of those would be like really tight games.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Back to the wheel.
Bowen.
Word. All right. Going Raiders +3. Going up against the Chargers. In Los Angeles. Just have a few notes and then I'll open it up. Antonio Pierce and Tom Coughlin dropped a incredible video. I'm going to send you the link. Kieran, I don't know if it'd be possible to add this video into. I don't know if that would. It's like a Twitter video. I don't know if you'd be able to add it in.
Yeah, I could probably
To the show. I'll send it to you. It's I watched it earlier today. I was actually super on another team, and another pick, pretty much all week. Saw this video. I love Antonio Pierce coming back. Tom Coughlin being in the building and heavily involved, and he's fired up in the speech, and it really got me going. Tom Brady is loosely attached, which I feel like comes with a lot of good energy, a lot of good momentum for the Raiders. He's like a part owner or whatever he may be. Christian Wilkins was, I think, quietly one of the biggest free agent signings. It happened really, really early on in free agency. Them adding Christian Wilkins to that D line with Max Crosby, I think, is going to make a lot of games a lot closer than they probably should be throughout this season. I think this game is a really, really good example of them being able to just ruin a game. It's a really tall task for Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, who I think Rashawn Slater's coming back from an injury, and Joe Alt's a rookie. For them to get that draw, I think Crosby and Wilkins are just going to blow games up. It's not going to be maybe the best watch offensively ever with these Raiders, but I think those two will keep them in a lot more games than they should be. Game 1, Gardner Minshew. I think that has something to it. I don't have any stats to back that up, but I feel like if you just catch Gardner Minshew fresh, energetic, with a lot of moxie that he carries, I think for his first game, especially with a new team being named starter, I see a little bit of magic there. And then Devontae Adams' grandparents are going to be in attendance for the game. First time they've ever been in attendance for a game. So think I think that carries a lot of weight for me. I think I put it in the Armani Suits Twitter group earlier this week. That whole him talking about them. So there was a lot of things that added up for me that made sense. Jim Harbaugh's first game with the Chargers. I think there's a lot of. I don't really know. I don't have much to say about this Chargers team. Besides the obvious things that I'll leave to you guys or whatever. But don't really know what they're gonna look like. I know exactly what Antonio Pierce's team is gonna look like, and I like them as the dogs in this to win outright.
It's a lot of questions with the Chargers. I mean, they got like an entirely new backfield. Their number one receiver is a rookie that they drafted, right? Because they got rid of Keenan Allen.
He's a petite kid too. He's tiny.
Yeah, Mike Williams is gone. I mean, they've got some guys, they've got some holdovers that have been productive for them in the past. So, it's not like it's not like they don't have anybody that, they don't know. But I mean, that's
Sure.
certainly just a lot of questions, I think. I think it's going to be interesting to see like what kind of identity they have as a team and what they establish. But yeah, I mean, I kind of didn't want to touch this game with, on my card. I think the Raiders have a lot of questions too. I mean, Antonio Pierce is like getting hosed in a divorce, or he's like getting sued because of
I saw that.
some brutal deals that he signed on behalf of his wife, and now she's like gone bankrupt on those deals. So he's about to get cleaned out. So I really interested to see like what I mean, maybe this is one of those things where like football is what he needs. That's gonna help him get through it. But stuff like that can creep in. You just wonder how much that's gonna impact him. So but yeah, support the pick.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as this. I think that these are two teams that are going to run the ball a million times on Sunday, and that's going to be a low, slow scoring game. So yeah, why not? Why not just take the underdog in that situation and let it play out? Because I do think that Harbaugh's team is going to be capable of winning some games that they shouldn't win, but. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of new stuff coming in. Herbert was dealing with the foot injury all summer, and he doesn't really have that great of receivers to be building chemistry with anyway. So yeah, I think that we should go with the team that has maybe a little more continuity here. Especially with their coaching and like I like what Zach said too, especially about the Devontae Adams, his grandparents being in attendance. So yeah, I think that's a great play right there.
All right,
All right, back to the
wheel.
What up? Cat? No, that's somebody.
All right. There it is. All right. I have put a lot of thought into this card this week. I might be going with a little bit of a square pick. I am taking a favorite here. It's a home favorite. But I'm gonna go Falcons -3.5 over the Steelers. Atlanta's at home. They got Kirk Cousins. He's obviously coming off the injury, but this is a guy that he's got a proven track record, competent NFL QB, who can run an offense with playmakers around him. That's what this Falcons offense is needed. They've got a new coach with Raheem Morris. It's a new day there. Bijan's in year 2. Seems like he's, gonna be the focus. A lot of talk about, with Kirk Cousins there, also just new coaching staff, new offense. Are they finally going to unlock Kyle Pitts? Obviously, they've got Drake London there. Pitt's also dealing with injuries on the O-line. Russell Wilson's calf injury flared up again this week. Seems like he's maybe even questionable. Is he even going to be the starter now? Like, Mike Tomlin's having to do the whole thing of like, I'm not worried about it because I'm confident with both QBs, that whole thing. But we've seen what Justin Fields is. We know what he is. And I just don't think Pitt's got a lot in terms of playmakers. I mean, Deontay Johnson's gone. That didn't help. Now you've got Arthur Smith, who's the old Atlanta coach, ran an awful offense. He's the fucking OC. And, that was an offense that was bad as it is. And then you're bringing this guy in, lacking playmakers. I really have a lot of trouble seeing how Pitt can be successful. It's a bit of a revenge pick for me. I took them in week 1 last year at home against the Niners. They got smoked. So I'm going back to the well, but I'm going on the other side. I'm taking the Falcons -3.
I gotta say, hate the pick.
I knew you would.
I hate
I
the
knew,
pick.
I knew you'd hate
I
the
have the
pick.
Steelers on my card. Look at it this way. Russell Wilson, married to Sierra, feuding with Future. He's raising Future's child back in Atlanta. If he doesn't go, it's Justin Fields. He's from Kennesaw. That's outside of Atlanta. So both quarterbacks have somewhat of a homecoming here. Arthur Smith, he's the son of the founder of FedEx, who he's like best friends with Arthur Blank. It was like devastating for Arthur Blank to fire him. He's coming back. Cordarrelle Patterson's coming back. I do like him to score a touchdown. I just feel like everybody is on the Falcons this year. Everybody loves them, loves them, loves them. I think their win total is still only like 8.5, 9.5. Like it's not like a crazy thing. And I feel like that's like a bet that everybody's like, oh, you got to hammer that, got to hammer that. I don't know. I mean, I think that there's definitely concern from the Falcons about Kirk Cousins and his, Achilles and everything. Despite giving him that massive contract, they did use that pick on Michael Penix. And, we just haven't actually seen Kirk Cousins come back from that Achilles injury. He didn't play at all in the preseason. We haven't seen Rodgers come back, so we don't even have like a frame of reference there. We really haven't seen many people at all come back and have legitimate success coming off of the Achilles yet. So I'm a little skeptical of that too. But I just feel like the Falcons, it's such a public pick, and I will personally be rooting for them because I really like Drake London. I like everything that they got going on down there, but
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to win.
I looked at this game very briefly, looked away fast. Scared me. The line kind of scares me. It was a 3.5, Tristan.
3.5. Yep.
3.5.
It's 3.5 for us.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, yeah, that's...
But in the same sense, I mean, the Steelers. I don't know what that really truly what that offense looks like. Tristan, you had touched on it, especially with the uncertainty at quarterback. I know, Fields isn't a stranger to playing in the NFL, but like you said, he's known. He's a quick study. He's pretty limited in what he can do. So I do like the Falcons. Here, if I had to take a side, I didn't have the Steelers anywhere near my brain. But I like the pick. I'm riding with the pick.
All right.
I will say I'm a bit of an Arthur Smith.
Bijan, I think, has a pretty good chance at being like CMC usage levels, and that feels really good. Because if he's rolling in a game, that's a
I hope he is. I
scary
mean,
guy.
I had him last year in fantasy, and it almost drove me to a stroke. Because it's like every time they did give him touches, like he was so freaking dynamic. And it just felt that team was so frustrating to watch last year. I was watching them because I had Bijan, I had Drake London, had him on the same team actually. And I just I've got a bit of a grudge against Arthur Smith. Like, I'm not going to lie about that. Like,
Yep.
not a fan of his work at all.
Learn from Sonny Corleone.
But yeah, I really, I'm really down on the Steelers. I've always been a Tomlin guy. We've always talked about Tomlin as playing well as an underdog, but I feel like there's way too many questions.
Yep.
On that side of the field, especially on the offensive side, like, yeah. So I looked at that game and I feel like things are trending in a really good direction. It's a fresh start for Atlanta too.
Yep.
I think that's in part why I've got a lot more optimism about, what they could do. It's a new coach. You're going to have a new offense. You've got the new QB, a lot of really great talent there. The defense has gotten better. So, and they're at home. So I think they're going to be fired up.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll just say I'm a little bit of an Arthur Smith defender too, because I mean, if Drake London and Kyle Pitts, they had to catch passes from Desmond Ridder, he had to call plays for him too. And Desmond Ridder didn't even win the QB2 competition in Arizona. Like, he lost out to Clayton Tune. He stinks. So I cut him some slack because Arthur Smith was a really good coordinator before he got the head coaching job. Some guys just aren't built for that. And they take over and they have to focus on way too much, and it's too much on their plate for them. So I mean, I do think that him going back to the coordinator role, is really good for him. And then I don't know, to me it just feels weird. Like, if you're like the new head coach in Atlanta, and the guy that just got fired, he's marching back in, and he's got one of his players with him as well. I don't know. I just got weird vibes about this game, but I also like the homecoming for both those quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game. Very
We'll see.
interesting game.
All right. Let's go. We'll go to Sunday night.
Yep.
So the Sunday night game, we get the Lions and the Rams. Lions are 3.5-point favorites. And Lions are at home. Let's go to the wheel.
Here we go.
And for the viewers at home, it's a majority.
Yeah, majority rules.
Majority rules.
All right. Start us off there.
I'm a Man Campbell guy. I'm an Amon-Ra St. Brown guy. I'm a Jared Goff guy. Pretty easy for me here. Just gotta play with my guys. Pause, but gotta roll with my guys. Lions 3.5. I think pretty easily. I think they win probably by like 10 points.
I'm on the Rams. I think people are overlooking the second chance at revenge for Matt Stafford here. He did lose the comeback. It was his first game back in Detroit in that playoff game. It was a pretty good game, but they ended up losing that. Now I feel like, because they talk about, teams that make deep runs in the playoffs, usually it's the effect on the loser of the Super Bowl, because you get the Super Bowl hangover without the Super Bowl, right? But the Lions, they had a really draining postseason. And the way that they lost was really emotional. And I feel like this could be kind of a sleepwalk spot for them here, where I think that the Rams, they could be a little more focused. They're coming in. Like I said, Stafford wants to get that revenge. So I think that they can maybe split that series between last year and this year. And yeah, I mean, the Rams, everybody was counting them out last year. I was one of those people, but I think that they got something good going on that offense. They're talking about Cooper Kupp, being fully back. Like last year, he was coming back from that injury and, maybe not playing at 100%. So, if we can actually see what him and Puka Nacua look like together, at full strength, then, I think that offense could be pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I like them getting, especially over a field goal, 3.5. I like it for what I think will be a close game.
What do we got?
I'm going Lions -3.5. When I initially started looking at this game, my immediate reaction was Rams +3.5. I think just looking at that offense, feels like it's got shootout written all over it. They've got pieces, to keep pace in a shootout. To your point, Stafford's coming back to Detroit again. But started reading up a little bit more on the game, and I think the thing that did make me switch sides is that the Rams have got some issues on the O-line with injuries, which I think could create some problems. And I think that Lions defense has gotten better. They've obviously got Aiden Hutchinson, who, kid like that, going up against an O-line that doesn't have their best out there. Feels like he could create some real issues for Stafford, have him running, have him on the move. They've gotten better on D as a whole, especially in the secondary. They added like 3 key pieces there. So a lot of people really like just kind of where that Lions D is going. And I think the offense is going to continue to be good. I mean, we've kind of talked about, like, just for Goff this year, like how much he's playing in a dome. It feels like, he's really set up this year to have another big year. And I think, he's going to have a lot of continuity in terms of the pieces that are there, with Amon-Ra and Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, they're loaded. They got a ton of weapons. And I think, Sunday Night Football opening week, it's a big spot. They were in a big spot last year too in week 1 and showed up really well. And Dan Campbell, you just came out with a great commercial for Applebee's. So I think the vibes are
That's a
high.
good thing to you.
What?
Dan Campbell's now suddenly he's commercialized now, and that's a good thing to you.
It's a
No,
great,
hey,
a lot
one
of
thing I
people
want to
talking
add
about
too.
how great of an actor he was. And I think just the vibes, it's contributing to the vibes.
He's becoming known for his acting, not his coaching. I just think something that I'm keeping an eye on with the Lions this year is that this is where they actually are making the switch and they're becoming the team with the target on their back, right? And
Yep.
I think that there is a different mindset, and I know it's easy to say, well, oh, it's the Lions, it's Dan Campbell, they play up, they're going to push through that, but I don't know. To me, it just feels like over a field goal, primetime spot at home, it just feels too easy to me. Yeah, I mean, I love Stafford to come in and just catch him off guard.
No Aaron Donald for the first time in a long time for those Rams. Could look a
Yeah, I
little
think
different.
I think their defense has completely flipped over from the Super Bowl. Like nobody from
Yeah.
that Super Bowl team
Yeah.
is on that defense anymore.
Yeah. So I think that could be also. I think the Rams could be feeling it, rightfully so, as they showed and will throughout the year. But
Mhm.
Aaron Donald, known very very good player. So losing him is big.
For sure, for sure. All right, we'll go.
Lions is the pick.
Let me write that down. Tristan.
All right. Monday night. We got the 49ers and the Jets. Niners at home, 4.5-point favorites. I'm going with the Niners. Look, I'm eager to see Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, last year, Monday Night Football, running out with the flag, all that anticipation plays in. Achilles goes out. And I think it continues to be a very interesting match for him, with the weapons that he's got with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and but I'm also just facing facts. He's older. He lost an entire season during which he only continued to get older. And the Niners got their top O lineman back. Everyone seems to be trending to be healthy. Ayuk's back. He's even in interviews kind of admitting like, I gave him a bit of a hard time, like kind of coming clean on things. But I feel like, they're coming into the season, they are what we thought they were going to be now. There were a lot of questions, but they've got their guys. And I think they're still the class of the NFC. I think the Jets still have a lot to prove, regardless of how good they look on paper. I think the Jets have become obviously a very popular pick to not only win the AFC, but possibly win the Super Bowl. But this kind of feels like Brady 2 years ago to me. I think they're going to be decent. They're going to make the playoffs, but I think we're going to see that Rodgers isn't quite what he was, and I'm just not sold he's going to be everybody thinks, that he can be, especially at this age. So I like the Niners, laying the points 4.5.
KB, what do you got?
I'm on the Jets plus 4.5. I think I've been sending these signals for the last couple of weeks now. Both teams had kind of weird off seasons. I mean, the Jets, they had to deal with the Rodgers, him going on trips and all that stuff. Hassan Reddick, I think still doesn't have a contract, anything like that. But I feel like it really cannot be overlooked that they did not have Brandon Ayuk or Trent Williams for any of their camp at all. And they had to deal with the Ayuk stuff. And like he said, admittedly, he gave them too much of a hard time for signing the exact same contract that he had available to him like 5 weeks ago. A stat that I saw, the Super Bowl loser in week 1 that following season, they're 10-14 straight up. They're 5-19 against the spread. When they are favorites of 3 or more, they're 4-9 against the spread. When San Francisco lost that last Super Bowl that they were in, they lost their home opener against Arizona, Kyler Murray in Arizona. They were 6-point favorites. They lost that outright. I like Rodgers coming back to the to San Francisco. I think he has a pretty bad record against him in the postseason, but I was looking at his stats, and typically he performs pretty well when he goes to San Francisco. For those at home, that was his hometown team. That's who he thought he was going to get drafted by. They passed on him. I believe they took Alex Smith that draft, right? So he's always kind of, you know how he is. He's weird about that stuff. So I like him coming back, and I like that storyline as well. And, especially with it being, the year after the injury, all that stuff. I don't really think that he needs to play crazy, like back to his normal self. I think he just needs to deliver the ball. I think they're going to run it a lot with Breece Hall, but I just think that Niners team has sneaky had such a dysfunctional offseason, and I think people are overlooking that coming into the first couple of weeks. I think that they might need a little bit of time to maybe catch up to speed, and I think that this first month might be where teams can catch them.
So yeah, I'm gonna side with Kieran here. I kind of for the same reasons as last year with the Bills and the Jets. I think truly now after all the the injury and shit that had happened with Rodgers this past year, I think Monday night is really going to be his moment. He should just double down and run out with like 2 American flags this time, or like a American flag and like a "Do not tread on me" flag out of the tunnel. And I think for whatever reason, I think it could be a real sloppy game. Kind of touching on Kieran's point of missed time from some key members of the Niners, and just Rodgers coming back from a year off and with a significant injury. I think across the board it could just be a kind of grinded out game. A lot of carries from CMC, a lot of carries from Breece Hall, and probably a good amount of turnovers. If I had to guess, with some of the defensive players on each side of the ball, Fred Warner, Sauce Gardner, Quinn Williams, Nick Bosa. There's a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. I think it could be a low scoring, wonky primetime game to open up Monday Night Football this year. So give me the points.
All right. Jets plus 4.5. All right, so just to recap the picks. So we've got Falcons minus 3.5. That's my pick. We've got Colts plus 2. That's Kieran. We've got Raiders plus 3. That's Bowen. For Sunday night, we're gonna go Lions minus 3.5. Myself and Bowen were on that side. Kieran was on Rams. And then for Monday night, we're gonna go Jets plus 4.5. That was Kieran and Bowen. I was on the Niners minus 4.5.
Fuck yeah. It's great to be back. It's great to be back.
And then Kieran and Zach, I put in the chat for this, but you guys should have an email with access. But I started populating these into an Excel sheet.
Awesome.
So take a look at that in terms of the formatting and how I'm trying to track it, but you'll kind of see like, if this format works, I can go through and just, I can add individual records and, we can keep a tally going.
Cool.
This works. I can just, kind of fill it out for every week across the sheet. So
sounds good.
All right.
I'm gonna go submit these now. Because I think we've got to get them in tonight for the first week. So I'll do that and I'll shoot you guys a text and let you know once we're confirmed to be in.
Word. Sounds good, man.
The investor.
Yes, I'll include you. All right.
Cool.
It's good to be
All right,
back.
we're on week 1.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you
All right,
guys.
I'll see you guys.